Today's topic is solving equations using multiplying or multiplication and division. So we're going to see how to solve equations by using multiplication and division. Okay, so it's anytime you solve equations, you have to use always the inverse property. So you're going to look at a lot of inverses of the problems up here. So division property of equality. Dividing each side of an equation by the same non-zero number produces an equivalent equation. So what does this property means? Let's say if you take any equation, if you're dividing with the same number on both sides, the value does not change. Okay, so that's the meaning of it. For example, here is 3x equals 12. If you divide it by 3 on both sides, you get x equals 4. So x equals to 4 and 3x equals to 12, both of them are same. Okay, they're equivalent fractions. Let's look at one of the equation right here. Negative 6x equal 48. So when you have this one, I can see whenever you have a questions like this, yep, you're doing all right. 6 equals 48. And the first thing you look at it, what is my variable? So look at the variable is x. And you want to isolate the variable. So when I look at this one, negative 6x means negative 6 times x. So negative 6 is a multiplication here. When it is a multiplication, the inverse process is you divide. So divide by the number next to it. So you divide by negative 6 here and 6. And then you get 48 divided by 6. But here, it's a positive and then this is negative. So positive divided by negative is negative. 48 divided by.
I thought positive divided by negative is that you take the.
That's for the when you add or subtract. But when you divide them, there are different rules. Negative times negative is positive. That's all we need. Okay. So x equals. You can always check the answer by replacing whatever the answer you got by here. So negative 6 times 8 or negative 6 times negative 8. So that's positive 48 because negative times negative is positive 48. So you get the right answer. Okay. So it's always suggested to in equations when you solve the problems, go back and check them so that way you're confident on your answers. Next one is a multiplication property of equality. So what does this property say is, if you multiply with the same number on the both sides, the value does not change. So you'll get the same answer or the same value when you multiply the same side, same number with the both sides. Okay. So using the multiplicative equality property. So when I see this question, first thing I'm looking at 9 equal w over 7. So when I look for where is my variable or letter. So right here is the letter. So I want to keep this letter. I want to get rid of the rest of them. But when I see this one, it's a divide by 7. So the inverse operation for the divide is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply by 7. If I multiply by 7 here, I can cross this. But since I multiplied here, I have to multiply the other side. So whatever you do one side, you have to do the other side to keep it balanced. So I want to multiply those two, then that way you can get the answer for this. Okay, that's it. Now also we can go back and check it. 63 divided by 7, which gives you 9. So that becomes a checking of your equation. All right, let's try some practice question here. Very good. Let's move on to the next. All right, let's practice these ones. Now let's look at some application.
Astronomy.
If you look at it, we know one of the formula, distance equal r times t. So what that means is the distance is how much distance do you travel, and how fast you travel, how much time you took. So if you know these, then you can find one. If you know any of these two, you can find the other one. Now the distance is given is the sun is about 150 million kilometers from the earth. So it's 150 million, right? Kilometers. Same thing, rate is 2 million kilometers per hour. Whenever you see a rate, it has to be per hour, per second, like that. So that's 2 million. So it's 2 million is basically 2, because we are taking the millions, so you can leave that. So 2 million kilometers per hour. Okay, and then we are going to find out the time. Since we are finding the time, that is our variable. So what we can do here is, so we keep the time alone here, and then divide it by 2 on the both sides. When I 2 divided by 2 on the both sides, I get 75. The kilometers cancels out, and then you're left with the hours. So that is time. So it takes 75 hours to travel to Earth.
Okay, so basically you took 150 million. But why did you divide it by 2?
Okay, so let's look into the questions. Basically, let's put it in a simple way. That's 150 equal 2 times time. This is the equation. Okay, so we just learned the equations. When you have multiply here, what do you need to do? What's the opposite?
So the opposite of multiplying is to, the opposite of multiplying is dividing.
So that's what we're doing basically. That is 75. That's a 2. Okay. Question. It's about the drilling. One type of thermal ice drill can drill through the ice at the rate of 15 feet per minute by using the heat to melt the ice. The time it takes to drill to melt through a sheet of ice 75 feet thick. So the ice is 75 feet thick, and then we know it melts 15 feet per minute. And we need to find out how long it's going to take it to melt 75 feet of the thickness of ice. Let's try this one. Now let's look into an application problem with the geometry in it. So there is a rectangle and then a triangle here. So when you look at this one, write an simplified expression for in terms of x, the area of the figure. Okay, to find the area, we need to find out the area of the rectangle, area of rectangle plus area of the triangle.
Oh.
Okay, so combine it, you can get the answer. So area of the rectangle is 8 times x, because base times height, length times width, plus area of the triangle is, the base is x, and then height is 6, divided by 2. So altogether, you can write 8x, plus you can cross the 6 and the 2, you can simplify it, that's you can get 3. So that's 3x. So combine them, you get 11x. So this is called expression. We got an expression for this area. Now it says, what is the value of the x? The area of the figure is 154 square feet. So the area is given to you now. So area is 154. I'm going to write it down. Area is 154. So that means 154 equal 11x. We just learned it, whenever you have multiplication, you do the opposite. So you're going to be times 11. That means you divide by 11 on both sides. Okay. So when you divide by 11, then you get the answer for the problem. Okay. So in the second part, basically, if you look at the second question, what's the value of the x if the area of a figure is 154? Area is given to you already. Okay. So the area is 154. That means we know from this we got the area is 11x. So 11x equals 154. We're basically equalating them. And then you solve for the x here. All right, let's look into the standardized test practice. So let's try this one. Let's try the next one. Describe a real-life problem that can be solved using the equation 50x equals 400. Come up with the problem.